It's Decklists TCG here, and welcome back to another TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get daily Pokemon TCG content, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Today we're going to be checking out the Orlando Regionals results as well as the Regionals in Perth, and we're going to be taking a look at how the meta could actually develop from here on out. We're going to be taking a look at the meta percentages as well as conversion rates of specific decks and check out the best decks that perform. So if you guys are excited, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. It helps out in ridiculous ways and only requires one tiny second of your time, so I would really appreciate it if you would do so. And also, before we start this video, big shout out to my sponsor of today's video, dragonshield.com, for your sleeves, binders, and deck boxes. You can get 5% off using the coupon ZAPDOS5 over on the website. There is yourplaymat.com, link down below to create your own unique custom playmat. Super awesome to do so. There is PoketownStore.com if you're looking for TCG Live code cards to boost your account. You can use the coupon ZAPDOSTCG for 5% off. And if you're a European player, you can buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. You can help out the channel while using the ZAPDOSTCG referral name. With that being said, this is the day one meta field of Orlando Regionals. What do we see here? Charizard, the most popular deck in town, as we already expected after the result of EOIC. Charizard is still dominating the Temporal Forces meta with 22%. The second best, actually the second most popular deck is Chien-Pao. Yeah, nothing strange going around here. You do see that in this situation, Lugia actually dropped off from being one of the top three most popular decks, and it actually is now currently the 6th most popular deck. And the thing that actually struck me as a surprise here is that the Roaring Moon EXs are actually rising from the dead, because it actually is performing quite well. But of course, the Dunsparce draw engine. And then, of course, Future Box with that 8.62% meta share. Of course, Turbo Iron Hands, also still a very scary deck to be facing off against, but of course loses most of the time to Charizard. There is Zone Giratina also still around. Regular Lost Boxes seem to be dropping off in favor as well. And as mentioned, Roaring Moon is getting more and more popular. What do we see with the conversion rate? Let's hop over to day 2. Is that we do see that Roaring Moon EX's decks actually didn't perform all that well, but the Ancient Box took over the 6th most popular slot over in day 2. So that's super interesting to be taking a look at. Also, Chien-Pao did really well. The Turbo Iron Hands did really well. Charizard dropped like 3 percentage points, and Lugia gained a little bit, as well as Giratina. So surprise here is that the stall decks actually weren't able to perform all that well, because Tord reinvented Charizard with a Team Meow's share, and now control decks are still having a hard time against Charizard again. So it's always like that. The meta always keeps evolving, as we all say here, and we're going to be checking out the top 16 deck list as well as some very unique deck list over in day 2. So let's hop over to LimitlessTCG.com and let's take a look at it, with Liam Halliburton winning. This is almost the exact 60 that Tord Ratcliffe actually used at EOIC. The only difference I see, or actually spot, is that they dropped down the 4 Charmander with Heat Tackle and added in 1 70 HP Charmander. They added in a Charmeleon, and they also cut down Jirachi. Other than that, it's the exact 60 that we come to know and love here. Very strong archetype. We can still use Cleffa here, which with Grasping draws a lot of cards when you're not able to do so with Rotom. Also, Cleffa is searchable with Buddy Puffin. You do have your control attacks with Team Meow's Chair and the 2 copies of Professor Turo, and with Prime Catcher, Counter Catcher, and 2 copies of Boss, you should have plenty of gusting capabilities at your disposal. With Quick Search Pidgeot, you can find any card you want, and B-Barrel also gives you some draw power in the mid to late game if you get Iono. So very strong 60, and it actually was able to come out on top. Next is Jake Ewart with Ancient Box. Very surprising to see Ancient Box perform this well. This is an Ancient Box also still using Koraidon, and the thing here is that this is very similar to the list actually won the senior division, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, with of course the Awakening Drum for draw power, with a lot of ancient cards in this list, with Earthen Vessel, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, Professor Sawdust Vitality, Explorer's Guidance, and a bunch of ancient basic Pokemon. You're gonna have a good time, because at one point you're gonna be able to hit those crucial big numbers with 1 copy of the boss's orders in here, on top of Palpad and the 2 counter catchers. You also have kind of a lot of gust at your disposal, and with the Flutter Mane you can shut down Comface, you can shut down Chien-Pao with Shivery Chill. So this list is performing well, and it also comes back with the 1 copy of the Great Tusk, allowing you to mill the opponent when the opponent least expects it. With Super Rod, you can even use it multiple turns, and that could actually win games when you say, oh, the opponent has 8 cards left in the deck, let's just not focus on taking prize cards, but just mill them completely. So very cool that this is a Turbo-like style with Pokestop and Pokegear, as we come to see and love with an Ancient box. Then, for all the Gardevoir believers out there, I have some good news. Gardevoir is still a very formidable deck in the Temporal Forces meta, with Joshua Frink getting 3rd place with none other than Gardevoir. Gardevoir has a little bit of an upgrade here with the help of the Arven package, the Technical Machine Evolution, allowing you to get those Curlias out ASAP, with HP buffing tools like Bravery Charm, Luxury Escape, and Hero Escape Ace-Pack card. You're going to be buffing the HP of all your Pokemon. More in particular, you can actually use that Drifloon here with the Balloon Blast, allowing you to, of course, run through opponents quite easily and one-shotting almost anything in the game. There's also Screamtail, which can do the exact same thing, but as a lower damage output, but it can also snipe on the bench, which is very great if you want to, like, take down Baxcaliburs, for example. You could do so with the Screamtail. Mimikyu can wall off and stall a couple of turns against specific archetypes, and Klefki can shut down entire decks when you have it in the active position. It actually is a very great thing here. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, both actually a basic Pokemon in play that have a rule box are shut down, which is actually pretty damn scary if you're taking a look at this. Actually, that have no abilities except for Mischievous Luck. So actually it just states basic Pokemon. So it doesn't even state rule box Pokemon. Just all the basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. So you can actually shut down while you set up. And the only thing you want is a couple of Psychic Energies in your discard pile. So you can then use the Psychic Embrace on Gardevoir EX. That ability to just buff up a Drifloon or a Screamtail and just one-shot opponents. You also have the Eerie, which can actually help out in specific scenarios. Very cool that Gardevoir is still a meta deck. Then the Regan Retzloff with Chien-Pao Baxcalibur. So it looks like the 60s we come to learn and love, but there's also a Silene thrown in here. I love the way that the Silene can actually grab back a Canceling Cologne or a Prime Catcher in tough scenarios, but it could also get back an additional rare candy. If the opponent uses TM Devo on top of Eerie, the Silene can definitely come in clutch in that situation. I also think that this list with the Iron Bundle, it is not playing counter catcher, but with the high amount of Super Rod and the Iron Bundle, you can get the job done by going 2-2-2, whether you're taking prize card with Moonlight Shuriken and the Greninja, or an Ampu Very Much, or just a big one-shot with a Hellblade on the 2-prize Pokemon. It's all possible with this list. So very similar to the list we've seen before, but no Iono in here. And it is still playing the 3-0-2 line of Baxcalibur. Luckily, Silene can get back puzzle pieces in a clutch. So Chien-Pao also still around. Luke Morsa, aka Celio's Network, with the Charizard Pidgeot. And let's see what this list has to offer. It is playing a very similar strategy like Tord Reckless with the 1-1B barrel with the 2-0-2 line of Pidgeot. They did actually throw in that extra Charmeleon, and they also threw in the TM Devolution there. So these are extra cards that can help out. No Team Meow's Cheer in this list, and also no second copy of Turo. They made way for TM Devo and additional Charmeleon, but they still are playing that Prime Catcher. So Tord is inspiring a lot of people to, of course, play Charizard because it's very strong, consistent, and gets the job done. Cyrus McCain with, Roaring Moon, the Dunsparce. This is slowly but steadily becoming my favorite way to be playing Roaring Moon in this Temporal Forces meta, because the runaway draw of the Dunsparce allows you to be a little bit Iono-proof, and with the help of the Temple of Sinnoh, you can even one-shot with Frenzied Gouging underneath stuff like Mist Energy. Very cool indeed. The list also comes back with Prime Catcher, Counter Catcher, and Boss, so enough gusting capabilities, and 2 Roaring Moons should be sufficient, because most of the time you're having the one prize method with the baby Roaring Moon slapping more damage for every ancient card in your discard pile. So yeah, this actually also got top 8 at the UIC, so no surprise to see it here. Brandon Dean also is here in top 8 with Zone Giratina. I think this is a very similar 60 to the one we've seen, although there are some unique cards in here. So we do see Torton, which actually can get yourself another Iron Leaves in a pinch, or just transform into Giratina to instantly evolve into Giratina VSTAR. Very strong indeed, that Torton. I've seen it before in the times where Lost Origin actually first came into the scene, so cool to see Torton back into the list. And there's also Temple of Sinnoh. Again, same strategy. If an opponent has a missed energy, you can still use Frenzied Gouging to one-shot when, not Frenzied Gouging, Star Requiem if there is a missed energy in play. Spiritomb still starts down, more importantly the Rotom Vs and the Luminions in the world, and other than that, it's just good old classic Lost Zone Giratina. Then the one to end it off is going to be Fabrizio Inga Silva from Peru, and actually is playing Chien-Pao, Baxcalibur. We also still see here an Iron Bundle and the 3 copies of Super Rod. Then on top of that, they still have Counter Catcher and Prime Catcher, so lots of Gust in this list for sure. Also a Vacuum. I don't know if the Vacuum is that great of an include. It could knock off stuff like Hero Escape and Maximum Belts, I suppose, but I'm not too big a fan of it. You could also win against stuff like, you can also knock off Heavy Baton, I would say, but not a big fan of the Lost Vacuum in the Chien-Pao. It is still a very strong list. I'm also a big fan of the 3 copies of the 60 HP Frigibax. That's more ideal in my opinion. Having 4 Nazball, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Body Buffing is great, and would be barrel you draw. You just need Iriel to evolve into Baxcalibur, and off you go. I also am a big fan of like playing Ditto in a list like this, because that can transform into whatever you feel like with 4 Body Puffin. But hey, that's just me. The list of Chien-Pao is very strong indeed. Let's see what other lists are here. There's a Lost Box with Hunter Butler playing Lost Box. It is incorporating Shayman V for the Charizard matchup, incorporating the Groudon, which actually slaps 60 damage. You can discard up to 4 energy from your Pokemon, 60 damage for every energy you discarded in this way. A very nice and easy way to deal with stuff like Iron Hands, as well as stuff like Arceus VSTAR. So it's Lost Box and friends. Sometimes you also see that Iron Boulder into these kind of lists, but this is just playing 2 copies of Forest Sealstone, really helping out with Raikou and Shayman, both being targets for that Forest Sealstone. So Turbo Lost Box still lives on. We see Shashi Narain, if I pronounce that correctly, with Arctina. So we're also going to be checking out different lists here. Lots of people will be playing that list to success. So has been a well-established archetype. Arctina with the Radiant Gardevoir helping out against a specific V Pokemon. If you get this out, the Giratinas in the world cannot one-shot you. Also, Lugia with the Tempest Dive will have issues against Arceus V. So very cool to see that Radiant Gardevoir being the Radiant card of choice. And Iron Leaves in here. Only 1 copy of that, to be honest. So no Super Rod to get that back. And I also don't see the disruptive cards like Eerie in here. Just a very classic, consistent Arctina list. Let's see here, the Futures Iron Future or Future Iron Hands, the Turbo Iron Hands build that actually got the furthest was top 16 with Baldemar Marlowe getting that placement here. Let's see what the list is rocking with. 1 copy of Mew EX is actually going to be the standard in a list like this. 2 Pokegear, 2 copies of the Psychic Energy, really helping out to sometimes use the attack on Iron Crown, but more importantly the attack here, the Sparking Strike of the Miraidon could definitely become a threat, and it's a very consistent list with 4 Research, 4 Arven, 3 Iono, a very consistent future box list. Okay. Let's move on. So more of the same. Lugia, actually the first place, actually the best performing Lugia list was actually Zach Lesage with 19th place. Lugia, Archeops, let's see what this is. Still a consistent list with that Master Ball and 2 copies of Lumineon. We do see that there's 2 Bulbasaurs and 2 Serenas. Sometimes you do see a 3rd copy of Bulbasaurs, but with 2 Lumineon, it actually makes a little bit more sense. Also a big fan of 4 Manchino, 4 Lugia, definitely when you're playing 2 copies of Lugia. And we do see here 4. And then that's 10, 13, 15, 16 energies in total for the Lugia list. So interesting for sure. Lugia, when it high rolls, it's a very strong deck, but you need to get your Archeops in the discard pile. Sometimes you fly high with Lugia and sometimes you don't. So big shout out to Zach Lestage here getting 19th place. Andrew Kennett with the Dialga Metang. So we're only checking out different lists here with the Zamazenta as the 1 prize Pokemon. Lots of supporters in here, 3 Research, 4 Iono, and a Maximum Belt as well, helping Dialga with the Metal Blast hit bigger numbers. Yeah, very cool to see Dialga actually performing quite well. Jake Riggis with that Arceus Armor Rouge deck here, and that is actually playing 1 copy of the Gouging Fire as well. It is Arceus and a bunch of Fire friends. You do have Armor Rouge with the Fire Off to transform energies from the bench to the active, which helps out definitely with Magma Basin. Radiant Heatran becoming a very powerful attacker, and out of nowhere Delphox can take multiple prize cards. So that's about it for the not a lot of control as mentioned here. The only control that I see currently is Snorlax is with Luke Alkiri, if I pronounce it correctly, third place. So there's that. This is the classic build, not control, not Pidgeot EX control. It's going to be Snorlax with the Chi-Yu EX, the Rotom, and all the disruptive supporters as we've come to know. Eerie, Erica's Invitation, Misfortune Sisters, and Giacomo to have a little bit of a chat against Lugia, I suppose, but that's about it. So stalling the opponent out, gusting them time and time again with Okander Catchers. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So lots more decks in that Day 2 field. So there were 247 people in that Day 2. Be sure to check out limitlesstcg.com to check out the rest of the results. But that was pretty much it for the top 32 slots. Then we're going to head over to Down Under with the regionals in Perth. And that actually was a Charizard Fiesta with Kwin Kababe with Charizard here, and a little bit of the control-ish archetype because people are saying Charizard control, that's just having the one copy of the electromagnetic sonar Regieleki, which can get a trainer card back from the discard pile, whether you're looking for that additional candy when you get TM Devote, or whether you're looking for an additional Eerie, that Regieleki can actually find it, and with the pal pad you can actually get multiple copies back in a flush. The cool thing with this list is that if Regieleki can get back a pal pad and pal pad can be used to get back a Turo and stuff, you're gonna have some great times. But the core of the list of Charizard has been resolved here. You do have the Rotom, you have the Cleffa, you have the Bibarel, the 202 line of Pidgeot. So everything is clear for Charizard. As to come and know, one copy of Collapse and the Prime Catcher. So Prime Catcher gets more and more popular as of late. I'm not going to check out all these other Zards. We're just going to check out different builds here. Gitano Palsani with Lost Box. Let's see what this Lost Box is rocking with. This is actually playing the Hoopa EX as the fighting type Pokemon of choice. In the past, we did see that Groudon in the other list over in Orlando, but this is incorporating the Hoopa with the Energy Crush. For every energy in play, slap 50 damage, and if the opponent has lots of energies in play, think about an Iron Hands, for example, you can easily one-shot that. Also, Mew EX can come into clutch, definitely against stuff like Charizard, forcing them to actually take lots of prize cards and then coming with a Mew EX out of nowhere, but also can bring yourself some Iono protection. You do see Roaring Moon EX and Iron Hands EX, the Paradox attackers in the Lost Box deck. Again, another Roaring Moon, the Dunsparce with Tim Franklin, getting to the top 8 with, of course, yeah, the Dunsparce, and it is actually very cool to see that a list like this keeps on getting the success, the one-off penny, really helping out against lots of archetypes out there. Yeah, there's also a big shout out to Jordan Palmer, Brent Tennyson, Rahul Reddy as well, making its way over in Perth Regionals with lots of the Charizards here, so Charizard seeing a lot of success. There's a top 8 placement for Lugia with Andy Chung over in the Australian Perth Regionals, and we do see here that they are playing 2 copies of Morty's Conviction, allowing you to actually you have to discard a card from your hand in order to use it, and then you can draw cards for every of the opponent's bench Pokemon. So that is an additional way to actually get those Archeops in the discard pile. Typically, you would see Serena in the list to do that, but Morty can also draw more cards when you don't want to be discarding energies, I suppose. So a unique way to get the Archeops in that discard pile. So some more Charizards over here. Then we do see Hayden Matthews with Lost Box Charizard. That actually is Radiant Zard or Sable Zard, as we've come to learn and love. With the TM machine, Technical Machine, Crisis Punch, if the opponent's at 1 prize card, bam, the Crisis Punch slaps 280 damage, so you don't need an additional damage modification for that Radiant Zard. So very interesting to see only 1 Sableye in this list, so if Lost City gets more popular, that's actually a very bad decision. There's also Entei in this list, coming out of nowhere as a big 2 prize Pokemon with 230 HP. Interesting for sure. We also see Future Hands in top 16, and let's see here, it is actually packing the TM Crisis Punch in here as well, so you can actually force that prize trade because you start off with a Baby Miraidon, then only slap down two prize Pokemon, and at one point the opponent will be at 1 prize card remaining, so very interesting for sure. So although I want to be giving a big shout out to this Meowscarada with Thomas Slater getting into that top 32 with Meowscarada. I don't know what their matchups were, but this has a great time against Charizard, I would say, with, of course, the Bouquet Magic, discarding a Grass Energy from hand in order to put 3 damage counters on one of the opponent's bench Pokemon, and you can then start one-shotting with that Scratching Nails attack. I did see a similar list over on the rank ladder at one point, and it actually is playing Master Ball for more consistency, so very unique to see decks like this doing well. Also, I think TM Devo in combination with sniping around, definitely with Radiant Alakazam, can get some checkmate one-shot scenarios, which is awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to be covering today, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the run-through. If you want to be seeing statistics for the Perth Regionals, we don't actually have those, but Charizard actually was 30% of the Day 2 field, followed up by 12% Lugia, 12% Giratina as well, and then Ancient Box. Ancient Box getting more and more respect, as well as Roaring Moon, so be careful because Roaring Moon is not done quite yet. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. It helps out in ridiculous ways. Go check out the sponsors for today's video, dragonshield.com. If you actually are looking for sleeves, binders, and deck boxes, you can use the coupon ZAPBOOST5 to get 5% off. YourPlaymat.com to create your own unique custom playmat. Botown Store if you're looking for TCG Live code cards, and of course CARDMARKET.com if you're a European player. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Congratulations to everyone that did well at those regionals, and hopefully they all got their Worlds invite, and I will see them in Honolulu, Hawaii this summer. Have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Pokemon TCG action. Peace.